Drag racing fan, Lee Craft here, aka the Monday Morning Racer. Between the Slicks is live, and wow, a rare in studio episode. So glad for some great friends of mine over the years, ever since moving out of New York and North Carolina, away from Strutmasters. They've gave me a place to land, and life's been great, but certainly on the move. Whether it's been living on the road covering motorsports recently. Marrying a great lady in Tennessee and moving there and still don't have things set up fully in that office at, now my home as well as her home in her office that, as you can see when I'm usually live, it's like just a window behind me. We'll get a good backdrop in there eventually, but have been busy with covering motorsports, whether it's PRI, McKinney Corp, who, by the way, is bringing you Between the Slicks in this particular episode, to Southeast Gassers Association drag racing, the Chaos drag racing, and beyond. We had March Meet coverage, which is doing quite well. The Fuel Altered video in particular, I think it just crossed over 75,000 views on YouTube. Fuel Altered forever. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode, we have got Ryan Haran. We're going to be chatting with this young man, getting it done in the Legends Nitro Series at the Arizona Nationals, picking up a big-time win in the family hot rod. And this car is no stranger to speed. It is no stranger to ET. It is no stranger to winning. And certainly Ryan Haran, we're going to see him picking up more Wallies and more great trophies in Legends Nitro Series drag racing and beyond. It's special events such as the March Meet, the California Hot Rod Reunion, and beyond. And talking to him before going live, some interesting developments for the young man as a driver too. We'll dive into it all right here on Between the Slicks. Ashley Box, hey, you can follow her Elite Reels. I believe it's all one word on Instagram, Facebook. She puts out some great work, and appreciate the encouragement there, Ashley. And I'll be in contact. Looking forward to chatting with you on more concerning hydro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break. This word brought to you by, because they're bringing you the show, McKinney Corp. And then we'll have Mr. Haran on right after this word.
McKinney Motorsports is your #1 source for all your chassis needs. McKinney Motorsports is the leading chassis parts supplier and fabricator in nitro drag racing. From custom tanks and fittings, full chassis builds, body mounts, steering components, fasteners, tabs, clamps, composite parts, and much more. Our household name in the racing world guarantees added performance on the track. Join our list of proven winners that spans over 50 years of racing experience.
There he is, winner of the Arizona Nationals and Legends Nitro Series drag racing, Mr. Haran, all the way from, it is California, right?
Yes, sir. Southern California.
Southern California, SoCal guy. Very good. Don't want to talk to none of those NorCal people. No, I'm joking. NorCal's great. SoCal's great. Cal's great, especially the ones that like drag racing. Well, Ryan, look, your family, no strangers to the drag racing scene, especially the scene of the Heritage Series and now Legends Nitro Series. So you've pretty much grown up in this deal. How did you get into it all?
It's been a really long ride looking back. I was always super young, just on my dad's shoulders, walking around the pits, just hanging out, meeting all these new people. And now these people that at the time were new are almost like family to me. So I've really been baptized by it. I guess you could say it's really kind of in my blood.
Absolutely in your blood. Now, what are you doing beyond drag racing? You're a young man. I think you're 19. Is that correct?
25.
25. Okay. I aged you a little younger. Nonetheless, 25 still young. Don't worry, man. Don't worry. We won't update the dating profile for you just yet from 19 to 25. Nonetheless, what are you doing out in the world beyond nitro drag racing? I know you and your family definitely Infinity Plumbing. I'm sure you're involved in that. If not, what is that and those partners, and what are you doing?
So for our personal work, it's my dad and I have a family-owned heating and air company that we run, and then I'm actually going to school for a general building license for contractor school, so that's something I'm looking forward to. And for Infinity Plumbing, I mean, they're I can't say like any good thing. Like everything I have to say about them is amazing. I mean, they help us out so much, and the core people in that company, Andy, Jordan, Angel, everybody in that company is just amazing. I mean, they help us out so much. I can't really express my gratitude in any other way. They do a lot of work down in Corona and the Inland Empire, and they're actually expanding all throughout California. So they're a great company, man, and their values are amazing, and we try to race with those values and represent that company accordingly.
If I'm not mistaken, they have been partners for a very long time. They were partners with your dad and him driving.
Yeah, they actually came on board. Andy did when my dad crashed in Pomona at the Winter Nationals in I think 2018 or 2019, and ever since then it's been a really good friendship and business relationship, and I can't thank them enough, man. I mean, the only reason we're still out there doing it is because of them, and I know as a racer you probably hear that a lot. Oh, this sponsor keeps us out there, but it really is true with this in this case. I mean, I can't express the gratitude that I have for them. They're amazing people and a great group of friends, and at this point, I actually look at them like family.
Well, it is great to have partners like that, especially that seem as if they are family and it's not just writing of a check and make sure my name's on the car type of situation. That is good to hear. We certainly need more of those partnerships in drag racing. Glad that you've got it in your area of drag racing. For you and drag racing, holding the wheel, it hasn't been that long ago. If I remember correctly, covering the March meet in 2023, that was some of your first shots at being behind the wheel and in the funny car. So you haven't been doing this very long. What has the maturation process been like for you to go and, turn on win lights routinely?
It started with Tom Bayer. I did that drag racing class with Super Comp, and then made extra runs with him. I made about 25 runs or so, and then my dad's good friends with Paul Smith, so he hit Paul Smith up and said, "Hey, I want to get my boy license." And we went through that route because it's easier. It would have been easier to put me in our family car, but it's just there's like stepping stones, and I wanted to do it the right way. And my dad, we were both on the same page. So then we got that license, the Nostalgia Funny Car license, and then we went down in my first race was actually the Good Guys race in Seattle. And then the March meet was my second race. And before the March meet, I licensed in our Nostalgia Top Fuel car that now is owned by the Kaiser family. So it's definitely been a short run, but I'm really grateful for the progress that we've had and the success that we've had.
Spectacular. So, Nostalgia Funny Car, Nostalgia Top Fuel, and I guess we'll bring it up. You're aiming for some other licenses out there in the drag racing world. We were talking before going live that you've made a couple of hits in Big Show variety.
Yeah, so that was Jeff Deal's car. I really appreciate him giving me the opportunity just to make a couple hits in it. And, it's a way different car, but it's just like it didn't surprise me how hard it moved forward. It just surprised me how hard it moved when it puts a hole out. I mean, those things really there's so much force and just so much power that it just throws you around the track when it puts a hole out. So it was definitely an eye-opening experience, but I definitely want to get out there and finish that license for sure.
Everyone that I have on the show, because I love talking to people who do get their license. Most of the time, they're people who are trying to crack into the sport, and they're not that well known. Love talking to those folks. They describe like going from the A field dragster to the top field dragster, or some type of funny car to the Big Show Nitro funny car, that it has its similarities, but it might as well be from dawn to dusk type of situation. They are different. Maybe not night and day, but you have some drastic differences from those cars. And fascinating that even though with your experience, it's that different. With your car, what is the combination? A lot of people, they watch what is happening in the Heritage Series and the Legends Nitro Series, and they don't understand some of the different combinations. I've had people comment on YouTube videos like, "Oh, these are methanol. They're revving it up." And I'm like, "No, it's a pedal clutch. It's actually nitro steel." So break down your combinations and some of the different things that we see out there in the Heritage Series.
There's a lot of different things you can run. for us, like the Heritage Series in general, it's a big thing is that we have transmissions, right? So there's different gear ratios. There's different rear end gears that you can go with. There's a lot of different things that you can go with to come up with your combination. For us, it's just a 426 stock bore, stock stroke, and for us, it really depends on our cam and cam timing and everything like that. So it really just depends. I mean, there's been guys that run 417s or 500 inches in the funny cars, and it really just depends on what you're familiar with. And my dad's combination, he's been developing this with my grandpa for years, and yeah, it's definitely really. I think that's the cool thing about it. It's not everything's 500 inches. It's not all the same. It's pretty different. So.
Yes, and in drag racing, we all like that. We love the nuances and the differences and the combinations being having a variety out there. I think of in the Heritage Series, there's a legitimate Ford engine out there with Walt Austin Racing and what they're doing. I find that fascinating. And you have on at least the Top Fuel side, people still trying to do things with Nitro and Chevrolet. It's not all Hemis out there. I mean, certainly the Hemis right now are performing exceptionally well, and they always have. And you could say that those with the heartbeat of America might not have the heartbeat of the Heritage Series, but nonetheless, they are giving it a go out there for sure. Speaking of Heritage Series and all things nostalgia, March Meet, the big one. This year out there in competition, car looking good. From McKinney Corp after the work and going black last year and finally wrapped. It's looking sharp. But going into March Meet, you did at least turn on one win light, but then in eliminations, it was a red light in round one. Break down your March Meet and the experience for Haran Racing.
It's pretty interesting. It's I couldn't really ask for anything else. Obviously you definitely want to turn on those win lights, but it was definitely a really cool experience lining up with Tyler Hilton. I mean, that's a really bad car right there, man. That's on paper, that's the baddest front engine car in the country. So it was really cool having two side-by-side McKinney cars that are both really, really, really fast. But yeah, as a young guy, it's like you want to go out there and do the very best you can. You want to hit the tree. You want to just drill them on the tree and just never look back. Sometimes you get a little more excited. For me, it was really, my team and I, it was unfortunate, right? We qualified, we raced an alternate, and it was just something that I shouldn't have done. We shouldn't have lost that, but, nonetheless, you get out on the top and you shake the guy's hand, you say, hey, good job, man. We'll see you next time. So it's, I think sportsmanship really is lacking sometimes, and, it's important to always keep that in mind. It's like, everybody's out here spending the same money. They're taking time off work. They're doing all the same things. So you really can't be a sore loser with this deal.
Hey, out there burning nitro and having fun while doing it. If the fun isn't there, if the sportsmanship isn't there, it's really kind of pointless. Like, I have to keep myself reminded in everything I'm doing. Like, one reason why I'm doing all of this and making a living now in motorsports is also to have fun while doing it. It has to be fun while we're doing it, because, man, if you dread going to the track, it's going for the wrong reasons.
For sure. I mean, that's a big thing too, is like, there's a lot of different things we can do for fun. We can go out, play golf, go to the bar, do something fun. You don't have to go out and spend 25, 30 grand and have a miserable time. So that's the big thing is, I love going out with my dad, my friends, my team, and, we just go out and, play shuffleboard, play pool, just hang out. That's the best thing, is it's really like a big family.
Now, golf, you could probably still wind up spending $30,000. No, it's absolutely insane what golf can cost. I enjoy golf myself, but I know when I go that I'm not going to let this little white ball frustrate me. Wherever it goes, I'm going for the journey, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah. Originally, when I started playing golf, I was one of those guys where, oh man, I'm not playing good. I need a new set of clubs, And I think everybody goes through that of like, oh, the clubs are going to make it feel better. And a lot of times that's not the case. But I do love playing golf, and there's a lot of different things I like doing, but fuel racing is definitely on top for me.
Yeah, I came to the conclusion with golf that no, it's not the clubs. I just suck. I'm just going to have fun no matter what, though, and move
Yeah.
on and do that out there and whack away. And speaking of new clubs, something that you and your family have settled with is a McKinney that it isn't really the brand newest design of McKinney Corp hot rods, from what I understand. Y'all have something that is from McKinney Corp. You all tune well with. You like it. Brand new body on it for sure, but the chassis isn't the newest additions rolling out of McKinney Corp. Give me the breakdown on the hot rod.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's something kind of special to us. There was actually Cruz's old car. So for me, it's really cool. I look up to Cruz. He's a really good guy, and that's somebody that I really look up to, and I ask for advice for driving. What do I, how do I do this? What should I do differently? And, he's always there to answer questions, and just a really good guy. So it was actually that McDonald's car, I believe, is our car now. And it's just a copy of it. Our old one got sold, and unfortunately I'm trying to find it back, buy it back, because it'd be pretty sweet to have that original one back. But yeah, I mean, for us, this McKinney car just works so well, and I really wouldn't change it. I mean, there's no reason to. It performs great. It handles great. I mean, it's for the first, 400 feet, you're driving the wheels off of it, and then once you shift it, it kind of settles down and just starts hunkering down and getting with it,
And if I remember correctly, Haran Racing, the team obviously that you're driving for, you all hold the record for the fastest mile per hour in Heritage Series trim.
Yeah, that's correct. On a 21-gallon pump, we're at 267.49, and that was actually against Drew Austin, like you mentioned earlier, with that Ford. And that was actually the race they won. They took it out, first race out with that car, and man, that's a sweet car. Great group of people there. I mean, I can't say enough great things about them. I love racing them. They're just a good family that races hard. So I do enjoy, looking back and all those good things. And my dad was saying, he was like, oh, like they got off the top end, and Drew walked over and he's like, hey, good job, man. And he was saying, he's like, yeah, I lost though. And he's like, but you went 267. So, that was something that was a really good memory for me. And, just hearing that, the respect that Drew and my dad had, it was nice.
All right, away from March Meet, we're looking at the start in earnest of the Legend Nitro Series running at NHRA national events. Why run 1,000 feet at NHRA national events for you and your team? What is the appeal to running with the Legend Nitro Series?
I think it's a great thing because it's a little different for us, right? Our car makes big power on the top end, so it's, we don't really change anything around. It still runs the same way it should at 1320. But, it's really cool being able to go pull in behind Matt Hagan or Caps or, Brittany Forrest, all these pro cars, and run on the same prep, run on the same timing and everything like that. It's great, Ben Carey, Michael, and Bill Wyndham, they've all put a great thing together for this Legend Series, and I really appreciate all the work they've done for that.
It is a good series, and I think it's interesting. I think it's fascinating that you have, March Meet, Boise, California Hot Rod Reunion, a place like Bowling Green when they are running funny car, quarter mile. But then we go to a national event, it's 1,000 feet, so 320 feet less. That changes the game just a little bit. And in other forms of racing, whether it is NASCAR Cup or we're looking at endurance racing or IndyCar, so many other forms of racing, different distances are the norm. It's not strange to go from a track that is less than half a mile to a track that is nearly 2.5 miles type of situation. Or you've got an endurance sprint, or you're doing a 24-hour race. So I really like how there is now this strategy element distance wise, even if it is 320 feet for you all in the Heritage Series. What were you all thinking going into Phoenix? You just mentioned, hey, make a lot of power. We're used to on the top end having that covered. Was there the discussion of, hey, we're running 1,000 foot now, we've got 320 less feet, we need to do something quicker, sooner on the measuring rule of the drag strip?
Yeah, my dad and I were talking about putting a 430 gear in our car and, going with a lower gearbox or something. And, for us, it just didn't work out. We didn't, every time we've tried to put some gear to this thing, it doesn't like it. And we saw that in Pomona. We go with a 41% gearbox and a 410 rear end gear and just go out and send it. It really, some of these guys are running 456 gears, 430 gears, but for us, it's just, we make the power to be able to just run a 410 and go out there and run competitively, which, I'm really grateful for. Our combination works really well, and it's something that's developed over the years. And, why change it if it works, right? It's obviously you'd like to get that, 245 mile an hour in the 1,000 foot, but for us, we went 243 with a 410 gear, 242. So there's really no reason to change it if you can run competitively with your current setup. But there definitely was talks about, putting a 430 gear, doing something in the gearbox. But, for us, we want to run it like a nitro car. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's not an alcohol funny car. It's not a gear car. Run it like a fuel car. And that's what we went out and did.
Well, speaking of running out there and doing the win at Phoenix, let's break it down. Qualifying, the track into eliminations. Did it seem like it was a weekend where you all could win? Did everything go right, or were there struggles you all worked through? What type of winning weekend was it for Haran Racing?
Just like any team, there's going to be struggles. There's always going to be struggles when you're at the racetrack. But for us, we didn't really even think about winning until we were in the final. It's you got to take each round, at a time, and that was the first final I've been in. So for me, it was a blessing. My dad put it on the numbers from last year's Phoenix, and we went 71, and I red lit in that one, and it's hard when you're going up against Cottrell. I mean, he's a killer on the tree, man. So I tried to find something in it, our car, and I should just went out there and left normally last year, but yeah, it's an interesting deal, man. I mean, we were struggling a little bit, but also, we just had to we knew consistency is going to win. I mean, consistency is going to win just about every race. So we figured, hey, let's go out there, run 70 to 75 every run and just hope for the best. And, there's some great cars that we were racing. I mean, Boy Chuck is a great car. And then we got through that round. He treed me on the tree. So I was like, all right, we're going to have to step it up a little bit. And then, we were racing that infamous green car, and, that thing's a winning machine. I mean, it really is a winning machine. That team is a well-oiled machine. Bucky Austin tunes the heck out of it. And, I knew I had to do a little something better on the tree. And, we went out there and we had, I think, like a 68 light to Shane's 120. And, on top of the driver getting it done, my dad also, tuned it really well. So, and that's something that we really wanted to outrun is that car. I mean, that car has been terrorizing this class for 8 to 9 years, and for us, it just showed a lot of growth and just to be able to outrun them, right? And then, in the final, we had Bobby, and, our hats off to the Speed Sport guys. They waited for us. We had a little bit of damage, and our turnaround was a little slower. So, we were walking back and forth like, hey, are you ready to start? Are you ready to do this? And, we pulled out at the same time. So they're a great group of people, man. They're racers, Jimmy Kelso, the whole Jim Broom team. I mean, they're a class act. They're amazing people, and I'm really grateful that they waited for us because, there's some people in this class that just pull up and say, oh, well, they're not here. Sucks for them. But they wanted to race, they wanted to earn it, and same with us. So I really appreciate everything that they've done for us as well.
Well, let's take a look at that final round and the win.
The world champion in the NHRA Heritage Series, the Legends Nitro Series champion, Bobby Cottrell in the Speed Sport car. Final round, Extreme Steel Legends. Bobby off the line first. Does he have the performance to hold on? No, he doesn't. Ryan Haran is a Wally winning funny car driver, and look at the family on the starting line. That's Dan going crazy in the middle. Ryan Haran has won a Wally driving a Nitro funny car.
Ryan Haran up at the top end saying, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Bobby just came over and said, I am so proud of you. And I can tell you your entire family is so proud of you, as well as they lost it on the starting line at your win. I can see this emotion in your eyes. How long have you thought of this, Ryan?
I've thought of this since I grew up and watched my dad race nostalgia funny cars, and I really can't believe it. It's actually my late grandfather, Gary Ford, his birthday today, so this one's for him. And it's my first one, so it's even more special.
When you imagine that you got this win over Bobby, how extra special is that?
It's undescribable. I mean, he's the best driver in the class, and just for me to be able to compete with him, I give my hats off to him and his team. They're a great group of guys. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Ryan Haran, a winner here in Phoenix.
Boom. There it is. Winner in Phoenix. And what a way. Again, you marched through, as you said, some tough competition. Boychuk, Westerfield, the win there over Bobby Cottrell, the champ, defending, reigning, how many times? I mean, over and over and over, and still getting it done. I think there's such a fascinating story there with him that, it wasn't just the green car. He can certainly drive, and that's becoming evident in a very capable car, but he's bringing his capable driving to the forefront. And you were able to step up and the family and wield that thing to a win over the champ. Now, you mentioned earlier that the team gave you a very solid hot rod, and I'm pulling this from your social media. I imagine Miss Rambo put this together, but you've got Q1, Q2, Q3, all the way to E1, E2, and E3, and living in the 70s. And, I mean, wow. The worst ET is a 475. That is not bad at all.
Yeah. I mean, that car is like a bracket car, man. I mean, the dedication from my guys, they give me the same race car, the same. I stage it the same every time, and that's how you see it. The numbers are within 5,000. This car is a really good car, and we're starting to see a lot of progress with it. So, for me being a younger driver with not a ton of experience, I'm just blessed to be able to have a group of people this great. I mean, it was really funny because after we brought the car back to the pits in Phoenix, we actually started it and revved it a couple times. Just, I don't know why we did it, but we kind of were just super excited and said, hey, it wasn't smoking at all. It's not hurt. Let's do this. It's our first win. So for us, it was just a great experience. And then something else too for Bobby, we're helping him put together a combination for his nostalgia top fuel car. And that's going to be interesting next year. I mean, that is really excited to see what he does in that class. And, with him leaving, I mean, 049, he's not guessing. That's a see the light and react to it. So for me, I'm really excited to be a part of that. My dad's excited to be a part of that. It's Cottrell family racing, Chris Miner racing, and Horan racing all coming together for something great.
Spectacular. Cannot wait for that as well. Was able to chat with him on that earlier this year with him right here on Between the Slicks before the season got going in earnest. All right, so we roll into Pomona. One, what were the challenges for a team such as yours that is, not accustomed to turning right around and going back-to-back weekends? Typically, there is a bit of a span from race to race in the Heritage Series and Legends Nitro Series racing, but this was Phoenix to Pomona for the Winter Nationals. So the challenges there, and then just the challenges of the Winter Nationals. It seems like, as it was for many in the big show side of things, it was a challenging for those in the Legends Nitro Series as well, even though the conditions seem to be stellar.
Yeah. So our biggest issue with Pomona was that we had a Nick Maguire plug wire that we didn't see. So it was, we finally saw it and put a new mag and coil box and coil and CDI box in it, and it, on E1 it really woke up. So, we were running behind the whole weekend, and then finally, after qualifying, we find an issue and say, okay, this thing's not moving right. We put a 44% gearbox, which we never run. I mean, it just has too much gear for us. And it actually slowed down. So at that point, my dad said, hey, it's a bad mag. So we changed everything. And, it wasn't as much as a turnaround. I mean, we put a brand new motor in it, and wasn't hurt or anything. Just put a motor in it. It said, hey, 6 runs. That's usually when we take it to Brad's and have it serviced. And so there's just a lot of things. I mean, in addition, first off, before we even knew about the mag, we had an oil pump issue. So oil pump just there's no oil pressure. So, for us, we start the weekend with no oil pressure, trying to figure it out, get to that Q1 just to be able to get to the lanes. And then put our old pump on from Phoenix. Everything works fine, get oil pressure, cool. And, with these cars, we warm them up on alcohol, and then, we turn the fuel pump on, take the alcohol hose off, and then starts hitting on nitro. Well, I roll the pump on and no fuel. So with this motor that we put together as our spare, we have 3 of them now, and it had the wrong size inlet on the fuel pump drive. So there's no fuel pump, and then it's just a lot of back-to-back things, and I don't think we really recovered from it. But for us, obviously we really wanted to double up, but it's not the end of the world for us. We also understand that you can't win them all, and I'm just, like I said, I'm just happy to be out there doing it, and be racing on the same property as all these guys that I grew up racing. J.R. Todd, Matt Hagan, Beckman, all these guys that are amazing. So it was really cool.
Well, that's a good positive take from the weekend. I know you all will move past those issues and be ready for the next race of the season. And you did mention that going to attempt a bit of a full pull this year. The next race on the schedule is the Igniter up there in Boise, Idaho, at Firebird. And I haven't been to that track. I've heard some good things. Got to make it this year. I got to get up there. But look, where do you think right now with the competition, 8-car fields, we've got 3 different winners, March meet, John Caps, you've got you in Phoenix, and then in Pomona, it is, how do you say his last name? I have not talked with him.
I believe it's Moriera.
Moriera? Okay, great. Yeah, he got the win in the Winter Nationals. So, I mean, wow, very, very competitive. Very competitive. And Shane Westerfield in the big bad green car has been right there as well in competition. Final round March meet, a semifinal round appearance there in Phoenix, and I believe final round in Pomona, if I remember correctly. So the competition is very, very tight right now.
Yeah, it's pretty tight, man. But that's what makes this racing fun. If it's a blowout, it's not really fun for anybody. And keeping this competitive edge, we're there to keep everybody on their feet. In our minds, we can, at the end of the season, we can wind up number 1 if we hit all the races. So, for us, it's a lot of confidence. It was a huge confidence builder to go out there and win Phoenix. And I'm just happy. I couldn't thank, the people that support us. We have Infinity Plumbing, Moen, Viega, Renai Water Heaters. There's so many people that just help us come together for this. So, CMR Racing, the list goes on and on. So I really appreciate everything that everybody has done for us to just keep us out there.
All right, so Bobby is just letting you know that the future's bright, but you can smile. It is a happy time.
He's a good guy, dude. He's a really good
yeah, no, Bobby's a lot of fun and certainly one heck of a funny car driver, and it's going to be interesting to see about the whole Top Fuel deal next year.
Yeah, he's like I said in the interview, he's the best driver in our class, and I think he's probably going to be the best in Nostalgia Top Fuel. There's nothing really stopping him, so really looking forward to seeing how that develops, because those cars are brutal, man. They're gnarly. They move, they rattle, they do all the things that these funny cars do. But for the funny car, you get a false sense of security when that body comes down and everything gets quiet. And when you roll that fuel pump on the starting line of Nostalgia Top Fuel car, all it does is get rowdier as it goes down. So I have a lot of respect for anybody that drives those. They're pretty gnarly.
Absolutely, I've heard from Joey Haas and others, trying to drive a wet noodle or a chain down a drag strip. And I can't imagine pushing a chain oh yeah, that's how can you do that? And then you're trying to have all that power on a 9-inch tire. That is it's impressive. It's like nitro small tire racing almost. It just I know it's a slick, but it is very similar, and it fascinates me. I'll see people on a comment section on YouTube. They'll talk about these cars and what the numbers they're running, and like, shouldn't they be quicker? Shouldn't they be faster? It's like, guys, it's pretty impressive what they're doing on that tire. If the tire was bigger, I mean, no telling what we might see. But on that particular tire, it is certainly impressive what is happening in the Heritage Series in Neo Top Fuel, if you will. And Chris Miner, yes, completely agree. Ryan is the future of the sport, and the future is bright, as Bobby has said. And hey, you're well on your way with Haran Racing, and certainly going to be interesting to keep tabs on you this year and what you all are capable of. Because, I mean, man, if you can just dial in from a little tardy to red light and get that consistency, you're on it.
Yeah, and that's where we're starting to see now. When we're racing a good car, I can see that I can, we can go down into the 60s and 50s if I have to. But besides that, we were in the 90s to 80s all weekend, and that's good enough to win. So it really just depends. It's with all this nitro racing, it's a dogfight every time. I mean, any car can win in both classes. And something I do want to mention is, send my condolences out to the Bartone family, and that's a really tough thing to see. And he's a legend of the sport, and I really sucks to see. But I do want to send my condolences to all of them.
Very good. Well, last thing, Ryan, just plug where people can follow you and keep tabs on what is happening in 2025 and beyond for Ryan Haran and Haran Racing.
Yeah, it's just going to be on Haran Racing, our Facebook. We're on TikTok, Instagram. So head over there, give us a follow, and Livia does all our content. She does a great job. I couldn't be happier. I'm really looking forward to see what the future holds for this team and myself. So
absolutely, yes. Shot by Rambo. You can follow her as well on her business page. Ryan, look, thank you for the time. Congratulations on the win, and certainly expect to have a few more conversations around some wins later on this year.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it, Lee. I appreciate everything you do for the sport. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Take care, man.
We'll see you, sir.
Folks, Ryan Haran, winner in Legends Nitro Series competition at the Arizona Nationals for Haran Racing. Be sure to follow them. Keep tabs on what the young man is doing with that operation. And the competition, I don't think, has ever been tighter in recent memory in the Heritage Series and Legends Nitro Series drag racing. You have the notorious Big Bad Green car doing some great things with Shane Westerfield at the wheel, but you already have 3 winners in the season in 3 races. That is spectacular. We'll see how it all looks as we get into the warmer months in the season, but it is shaping up to be a great battle there with the floppers. in Heritage Series action and Legends Nitro Series drag racing. We're going to take a quick break. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. From Megan, that's my wife. Hello. Love you. Hope you're doing well. And George chiming in. And Megan. Then we've also had Bobby and Christopher and others on the show. I appreciate that, guys. You watching, hit the like button, hit the share button, and we're going to take a quick break and then give some updates of what is happening this weekend in particular. Also, what is not happening this weekend in particular. This word from Dove Fuels, and then we'll give a breakdown of, well, what is going on out there in the world of drag racing.
Fly right in your motorsports endeavors with products and services from Dove Fuels. Pete Dove is the owner of Dove Fuels. He is a racer himself in a nitro methane burning fuel altered, dubbed Back from the Ashes. He races with Driven Racing Oils, which produces a 70 weight nitro oil, but that is not all they make. They make applications for you on the oval track, whether that's dirt or asphalt, and for even you, the bracket racer on the drag strip. And if you need nitromethane, Pete Dove at Dove Fuels is the one to call for a drum or even supplying for an entire series, as he is the official supplier of nitro for Nitro Chaos. If it's nitromethane or Driven Racing Oils, you need to contact Dove Fuels. Gentle name, Hardcore Products.
Pete, thank you for the support. Appreciate it, man. And if you need support for your series concerning nitromethane or Driven Racing Oils, he is certainly the one to call. This weekend, I will be right here, Shady Side Dragway. Be out there later on this afternoon and into the evening, since it is April 4th, but it is race day on April 5th. Shadyside Dragway for the Shelby Nationals, presented by Robbins Reparables in Southeast Gassers Association Drag Racing. It is the home race, if you will, and it is a spectacular time. If you have never been to Shadyside, if you have never been to a Southeast Gassers Association event, it is the one to catch, in my opinion. And it is a great place to go experience Southeast Gassers Association drag racing. We had a great race at South Georgia Motorsports Park for the season opener, the Spring Nationals, presented by Harbin's Mechanical Services. And by the way, if you need HVAC and refrigeration services in Atlanta and its metro area, Harbin's Mechanical, that's your number one source. But it was a great event for the Spring Nationals. With that stated, you have a modern type of facility for the racers of Sega at the South Georgia Motorsports Park facility. When you look at Shadyside, the Buff Boys in ownership have done a great job of now completing both phases of the new grandstands and updating bathrooms and updating concessions, and it having a better fan experience. But it's also a fan experience that you can take in and go back in time, especially with the racing that the Southeast Gassers Association is putting on. I like to say that it's almost drag racing reenacting of what it was like in the 1960s, mid-1960s up to 1967. You get this scene with the drag strip that is Shadyside, with it being on the hillsides that kind of roll down right next to the creek, and the drag strip is right next to the creek. It's somewhere you're probably not going to put a drag strip in this modern day, but it was put there back in the day. It's been in operation since the 50s. Granted, it was the other way in dirt, but you have a scene where people will sit on top of the hillsides, not near the track, but just like looming over it, and get a completely different experience, an experience as if it was 1960 something watching Southeast Gassers Association drag racing. So if you are able, I know there's a lot of racing happening this very weekend, even in North Carolina, but if you are in the upstate of South Carolina, if you are in western and central North Carolina, if you are in the southern, western type of areas of Virginia or further, Southeast Gas Association drag racing at Shadyside, it is a must-see. Mentioning North Carolina and drag racing, the East Coast Nationals for the PDRA, the Professional Drag Racers Association. They are in action. Testing was yesterday. They'll have some qualifying today. Eliminations qualifying wrap up on Saturday. And you have a great event there happening at Galat Motorsports Park. Big news around Galat Motorsports Park. Sold to the IHRA. The International Hot Rod Association has acquired the Galat Motorsports Park facility. So as talked with Christian Bird a couple weeks ago on the Competition Plus Power Hour, there is merit to that in principle statement many weeks ago of the IHRA attempting to buy many facilities. One that was listed, one that was mentioned was Galat Motorsports Park. That deal is done. And it is now an IHRA-owned track. And in statements from the IHRA, though, we can expect that it will continue as a WDRA-sanctioned track this year, and that the events that are slated will continue as scheduled. So it's going to be interesting to see the future of Galat Motorsports Park. That certainly, with the ownership that had it, was turned into a premier place to race, arguably the greatest eighth-mile facility, dedicated eighth-mile facility in the country. It's a great place to race. And the PDRA, they are racing there this weekend. Along with that stated, there is some racing that will not be happening this weekend. The Funny Car Chaos Classic at the Texas Motorplex was slated for this weekend. It has been postponed. The new date is May 1st through the 3rd. The reason for the postponement, weather. Many of you know that there has been severe weather across the country, not just yesterday evening, but even days before, and it is continuing across the country in the wave action, if you will, of it rolling across the central United States into the eastern United States. In fact, strong enough that Brownsburg, Indiana, the Nitro hub, it was hit with tornadic episodes, and the John Force Racing outfit was hit, and they had damage. You can get a full story and full report on that on competitionplus.com. No injuries, but nonetheless, it was hit and there was damage, and that has been evident across the country in many places. So stay safe. And I firmly do believe that Chris Gray's made the right call. And he's had to make this call before, and it has turned out to be right. And I hope everyone stays safe and that there is no damage out of it, and we come away and maybe that, we could have raced, but we were safe. That is the right call. That will make the first chaos race of the season, points-earning variety, a Funny Car Chaos event in Tulsa, Oklahoma at Tulsa Raceway. And we'll play the promo for that at the end. But you've got a lot of drag racing action happening this weekend. And wherever you are, go to your local track and enjoy some drag racing. I can tell you right now on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel, you can catch the March meet action. Thank you for those that supported the March meet coverage, such as Hilton Hot Rods, Ross Racing Engines, Fuel Altered Chaos, which will be taking place in November at Tucson Dragway, and also McKinney Corp in supporting the Funny Car coverage. You can see all those videos on Monday Morning Racer. Later on, we'll have a video that is, just the sights and sounds of the March meet, just cars running down the track. People certainly do love watching that, putting on the background of whatever they're doing and hearing the great nitro noise that is produced by a nitro burner. Thank you all for watching. And, hey, Jacob, hope you're doing well, man. Are they streaming? I imagine you are referring to the Southeast Gassers Association. No, we will not be streaming this weekend. I'll take you behind the scenes, working as the media director for the Southeast Gassers Association. South Georgia Motorsports Park was the one weekend we were able to get Warren Evans, the producer for Drag Racer TV. You can subscribe to him on YouTube or follow on Facebook. But Warren Evans does so much more in the world of drag racing than just his own platform. He has produced live streams for Funny Car Chaos. That's how I became connected with him. He's produced live streams for, well, right now, the Flings. The Fling is going on. That's drag racing that's happening right now. The Fling out there in Las Vegas, the big money, the $1 million. That's happening right now. You can watch it live on their YouTube channel. Just search it, but that's being produced by Warren Evans. But we had him for one weekend. Streamers are typically booked very early for a year in the year ahead. And that was certainly the case for Warren Evans. I talked with another outfit. We could not come to an agreement because of where content was supposed to go and not go. And in talking with other streamers, just haven't got a firm answer. So right now, I hope that we've got a stream for the race in Jackson, Tennessee. That's much more down the road in the Southeast Gassers Association schedule. And this weekend, I'm going to talk with someone that is involved in streaming. But it certainly does appear streaming-wise that the Southeast Gassers Association is going to have to handle itself. And if I've got to, I'll definitely work towards that for the Southeast Gassers Association. Streaming, again, is happening for the Flings. You can see that on their YouTube channel. Let me see if I can find the actual YouTube channel for the Flings really quickly. And here it is. Yep, the Fling Bracket Races. That is the name of their YouTube channel. I'll bring it up right now, actually. We'll share that here in just a moment. And you can see that that is going on. Oh, right there. So the Flings, they are in action. And again, this is being produced by Warren Evans out there at the Strip at Las Vegas. And they're running for $50,000 right now. Again, the Fling Million, that's going to be taking place. That is this event. So you can see the action right now. And then on, well, Flow, you can see action as well for the PDRA. We'll go to that right now. And we'll get through the ad. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, just doing this on the fly. Disney Plus. Do you have Disney Plus? I don't. Hopefully you do. Maybe. You can watch Doctor Who. We've plugged Disney Plus here on the Between the Slicks on the Monday Morning Racer platform. I like Zaxby's. Do you like Zaxby's? Hey, you can get now some shrimp deals there at Zaxby's. But you can see at the moment PDRA action on Flow Racing, and they will obviously in time switch away from the free preview to where you will have to have a subscription for you to be able to watch. But they are streaming the action there at Galat Motorsports Park. So there's the action. I think, like all of it. Let me know where you're going drag racing this weekend. Folks, thank you for watching. This has been Between the Slicks. Thanks to Ryan Haran for his time, the winner of the Legends Nitro Series in Phoenix at the Arizona Nationals. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'm Lee Kraft, right here on the Monday Morning Racer platforms. Be sure to follow on Instagram, Facebook, and subscribe to the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. As well, hello, and thank you for watching on the Competition Plus Facebook page. Be sure to follow Competition Plus. And remember, CompetitionPlus.com is where you can believe what you read on the internet concerning drag racing. To each and every one of you, thank you. And as I said, there has been a postponement of the Funny Car Chaos Classic that was scheduled for this weekend. It has been moved to May 1st and 2nd and 3rd. The first Now, Chaos race to open the Funny Car Chaos season will be in Tulsa at Tulsa Raceway Park. This word from them, we're done. God bless and keep the pedal to the metal.
Tulsa Raceway Park is celebrating our 60th anniversary in style with Funny Car Chaos. Join us Friday and Saturday, April 25th and 26th for the biggest funny car show in decades. Plus, meet the one and only Don the Snake Prudhomme both days. See the world-famous pinup contest, groovy backup girls, wheel-standing gassers, and so much more. Visit TulsaRacewayPark.com for info and tickets, and we'll see you at the Chaos.